When it comes to the playoffs, okay, with a lot of young faces, players that really need to catch their stride during the playoffs that have been out for a while, the veterans obviously helping a lot of these players on the team. Some rumors of obviously AJ Brown, a knee injury, something going on there, which I don't think people should make a big deal out of, and a lot of more other things. So let's get straight into all the news.
A killer buried, but not dead.
Darren, we better turn around. Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yo, what is going on, guys? I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. This video is sponsored by BetUS, so definitely go check them out. So, playoffs, man. The mentality of this team going into the playoffs, I think they are laser focused for a lot of reasons. Obviously, you have veterans here that have won a Super Bowl, what's left of this roster, and you have some familiar faces that have been in the playoffs the last few years consistently. And obviously talking about one is going to be Saquon Barkley, obviously not breaking Eric Dickerson's record that last week. Now Saquon is more fresh, more ready to go in the playoffs. And, at the end of the day, guys, like this is his second time in the playoffs. Remember, they beat I remember the Giants beat the Vikings and then the Eagles in the divisional round, and we obviously they didn't really stand a chance in that game. Saquon Barkley, obviously the face of that offense. That's the only reason why the Giants were in the playoffs that year. But now this is different. Now it's relying on everybody else. As much as you want to rely on yourself in the playoffs and you want to do well, you're relying on everybody else to give 100% effort. And Saquon is now in a position now where his legs are fresh. And let me tell you something, he's going to run a lot in the playoffs, okay? I don't think you put a stamp on how many carries does he have, okay? I don't care if the Eagles fumble the ball 6 times. Okay, and he has 50 carries. Okay, I know it wouldn't happen, but I'm just saying it as a joke, find any type of way to win. I don't really nitpick at playoff games because obviously, the Eagles might run into a little problem during a game, might have a bad series. It's going to happen. It's not going to be perfect every single game in the playoffs if the Eagles get that far. So with Saquon Barkley, run him as much as you possibly can and obviously mix things up. And I feel really good about this roster, especially now going to the playoffs with such different expectation now, maybe similar to other years, but now having a 2,000-yard back, now having a 3-down back going to the playoffs, where if you put the ball in Saquon Barkley's hands, anything could happen at any given moment. And hopefully, they distribute the ball well with Gainwell, but I don't want Gainwell to have more carries. I really don't want Gainwell in 2-minute offense because I feel like he's a less threat when he is on the field when in the most important time when the Eagles want to get points. If they get the ball in the second half or whatnot, you want to make sure that 2-minute drill is perfect and you have the right guys on the field there. But obviously, Saquon Barkley, very grateful, and this is one of the biggest differences going to the playoffs with him in the backfield. Like I said, anything could happen. And that's where we're at. Now, there was some news, okay? Now, we know that A.J. Brown, everybody is dealing with injuries, okay? This is the thing that everybody needs to understand. People need to understand is that, there are players, that may not be on the injury report or may be on the injury report where things aren't serious. Okay, AJ Brown has been out a few games this season. Okay, he was playing hurt. I think the Commanders-Steelers game, I think he was playing hurt those 2 games. I don't know if it was the game before the Commanders or the one after that as well, but he was hurt a couple weeks where, he played really well. It doesn't even look like he's even playing hurt, but he has been dealing with a knee issue. So last week they rested him 1 day. This past week they rested him 1 day, and obviously the media is trying to twist it that he ended up getting a knee injury in practice. That didn't happen. He's been dealing with this. A lot of rumors out there too that this is why the Tennessee Titans didn't want to sign A.J. Brown long term because he has had these issues with his knee. And obviously, you want to keep him healthy. It is what it is. We need him on the field, and I don't think it's anything crazy. He will play Sunday. We did get other news from John McClain because I kind of want to go around and make sure that this wasn't a bunch of, like, they weren't trying to make something up, okay? An indication that he's playing on Sunday, because there was a lot of false clickbaity reports that he ended up sitting out of practice because of a knee, but not really explaining that he already had a knee going into practice, that he's dealing with a knee injury. I mean, everyone's dealing with something. Devontae Smith is dealing with a hamstring. You know, if he was dealing with a hamstring, he was playing on a bad hamstring for a while. You know what I mean? So, you know, this is one of those years where, you know, Devontae Smith wasn't fully healthy as usual, and A.J. Brown was kind of dealing with something. Probably his second injury, I wouldn't say a big injury, obviously. When he got here in 22 is kind of different, but you know, not too many injuries with some of these guys, but you have a running back that can run the football. You have tight ends. You have a lot of weapons all around regardless, so you don't have to really hone in on one receiver. You have Jahan Dotson. You know, I think that's another weapon that they definitely could use in this game if they get the matchup regardless, okay? You know, so the A.J. Brown stuff is just kind of, okay. I don't know why they have to make it anything bigger than what it is, because he's not injured. He's been dealing with something. It's nothing different. It's nothing different to say. So that's really all the A.J. Brown news. You know, it is what it is. I think one player that we really need to, like, show up, okay, as much as he's not worth the money that the Eagles signed him for, okay, it is Bryce Huff, okay? We talked about this a million times. Obviously, pre-bye, he looked horrible. Post-bye, I thought he was technique sound. I thought they put him in the right technique in a 4-point stance, and he was getting pressures. I mean, he's got a couple sacks on the season, nothing crazy, but this is the time now where he really starts to expand himself. Okay, I'm not looking for him to get 5-6 sacks in a game, but I'm taking his money out of it. I'm not even thinking of him as a player that's getting $17 million a year. I'm thinking of him as put him in the rotation, and if he's playing well, you give him more snaps. If he's not playing well, you take some snaps away from him in the playoffs, because Josh Sweat has played really good. He's got 8.5 sacks, 7.5, whatever for the year. Nolan Smith with 6.5 for the year. Nolan Smith has been fantastic. The last thing we need right now is having a player that's playing bad or not doing well with his reps in the playoffs, and he's getting more reps or taking reps away from somebody else. We know the edge position has been one of the big, you know, obviously losing Brandon Graham was huge, you know what I mean? So interesting to see, you know, what Bryce Huff does. As long as he does like 15 to 20% production in a rotation, I have no issue with anything that he does. You know, like I said, I till this day, okay, I don't believe that Vic Fangio agreed to signing him to big money, because when he got the training camp, okay, Vic Fangio had a press conference. I think the first training camp press conference that Vic had after the first or second day of practice, something like that. And someone asked him, do you think Bryce Huff can be a 3-down back, because he was in the heavy rotation with the Jets? And Fangio pretty much said he's not there yet. So it's like they signed him to all this money. So I can't even think that Fangio, this was a Howie Roseman move. This was a desperation move, because, you know, the Eagles had to give away Hassan Reddick. Knowing Reddick was going to hold out, they want to rip the Band-Aid off and let him go, okay? And obviously, he hasn't played good with a half a sack in 8 games with the New York Jets, so he'll be a free agent next year that the Eagles will probably stay away from. You know what I mean? So that's where I'm at with the Bryce Huff situation. Like I said, I can't put too much on him in the playoffs. He's playing still with a club in his hand right now, so I don't even think he's going to play even that well, even with the club going on, because he had the minor wrist surgery. You know, they said, you know, just go get the surgery, come back, and, you know, you'll be ready for the playoffs. So that's what he did, and we didn't really need him that much. The 3-man rotation, I thought, was going really well on that edge pretty nicely. You know what I mean? So, like I said, I'm very, like, you know, Bryce Huff, you know, it's taken a lot of weeks for this defense to really gel together. And Bryce Huff, I thought, played really a lot better after the bye week. Not, you know, post bye week, he was getting 10 sacks, but, you know, he was better. But is he worth what we're paying him for the amount of what he's doing? Definitely not. So hopefully he's going to become one of those unsung heroes that's going to make some big play. You know, that, damn, man. I mean, he showed up when it mattered, and that's really all that matters. As for the 2024 season into 25, into the NFL, the wild card weekend against the Green Bay Packers, and throughout the playoffs, whatever happens. Hope Bryce Huff plays really well. And obviously the linebacker position, obviously Neboe Dean has been out for the last couple of weeks with the abdomen injury. I'm not really worried about this too much. There were some people asking about it. You know, we didn't really know what was going on when he left like 3 weeks ago in a game. and everybody was kind of wondering, is it bad? Does he need surgery? Blah, blah, blah. And I don't think he does. I just think the Eagles said, you know what, we can afford to rest him. They already had a playoff berth. Really, it was just they needed to win one more game to win the division. And I don't think losing to Neboe Dean for a couple of weeks was really a big deal. They know they could have won without him. But obviously, not having Neboe Dean on the field is definitely, when he was first missing from the first game he was gone, that definitely was missing a heartbeat at that linebacker spot. But I got to say, I thought Burks actually played really good, the veteran linebacker that we have. I mean, he had 17 tackles last week. Burks has been pretty good for a backup veteran. I got to say, I mean, I would definitely re-sign him in the coming, this coming off season, because I think he's an extraordinary depth piece. With Ben Van Simmeren being out, obviously. You're thin at linebacker, and Zach Baun being the number one linebacker in the league, paired up together, Neboe Dean and Zach Baun just have been amazing this season. So can't wait to see Neboe Dean back into the lineup. So other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. We'll have one more video probably for Sunday. And or for Saturday and Sunday, 2 more videos, and then we'll be ready for this playoff game. I can't wait. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't worry about the AJ Brown stuff. I wouldn't really worry about Bryce Huff that much, because Fangio will do the right thing. If he's not doing much, they're not going to give him more snaps. That's what I love about Fangio. He doesn't play favorites, no favoritism. And what do you think Saquon Barkley's going to do in the playoffs? How good do you feel about having a back like Saquon now with his second time in the playoffs, now with Jalen Hurts in the playoffs with the Eagles, and how much do you think they're going to run him? I think if it's working, you just keep doing it, man. I feel really good about it. And let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more Eagles news every single day, and make sure you like this video. It helps the channel out tremendously. Link in the description for the Philly Shakedown podcast merch for playoff deal. If you buy 2 pieces of merch, you get free shipping shipped within a couple of days. So I appreciate so much everybody. It's been very, very supportive of that. And I will see you guys on the next one. Shakes what up, follow us up. Peace out, guys. Peace.